Welcome to Stoic Podcast. How are you guys doing today? You know that feeling? It's almost paralyzing sometimes.
Yeah.
Look up, check the calendar, look at your goals, and realize you've just been drifting. Not really growing, maybe not building anything substantial, just existing. The weeks kind of blur, right? Time just vanishes into distractions.
Yeah.
And then, boom, you're hit with this crushing weight of everything you meant to do, but somehow never started.
It's a very modern anxiety, but the ancient Stoics, they were all over this. Seneca, he had this observation, brutal but brilliant. He said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire."
Wow. Okay, break that down. That hits hard.
Well, it exposes this fundamental contradiction, doesn't it? We get terrified by small, immediate discomforts, like sending that difficult email or having that awkward conversation or even just the alarm clock going off.
The little things.
The little things, exactly. We fear those, like our life depends on it. But then for our huge goals or big dreams, we act as if we've got endless time, like we're immortal.
That is spot on. We're busy, oh so busy, micromanaging tiny worries. But the big stuff, the life-changing work, we macro-procrastinate on that.
Right.
And the source material we're digging into today, it really confirms this idea that time isn't, like, stolen from us. We give it away, willingly surrender it, hour by hour.
Choice by choice.
Yeah. So our mission today is basically to unpack, 7 key Stoic truths? Truths that expose this pattern, this self-sabotage, and hopefully demand we stop surrendering.
And the core obstacle, according to Seneca anyway, it wasn't just laziness in the simple sense, it was delay.
Delay, okay.
He argued that most people don't really live, they just postpone living. They're always preparing, always getting ready to start, waiting for that perfect moment that, let's be honest, probably never arrives. We have to see the danger in that word tomorrow.
It's seductive, right?
Yeah.
Promises everything, demands nothing now.
And that constant delay, that postponement. That's why people end up, like Oliver Wendell Holmes said, dying with their music still in them.
Precisely. It's a deeply unsettling thought. It really is. Yeah. Okay, so if the big enemy is this inertia, this delay, let's tackle that inner battle first. How do the Stoics say we overcome just the sheer drag of getting started? Principle 1 seems to be, stop negotiating with your laziness.
Yes. That it's exhausting, isn't it? That internal debate you have when you know exactly what you should do, but you start bargaining, just 5 more minutes, I'll do it after this coffee, maybe after lunch. And each time you do that, you chip away at your self-respect, your self-trust.
It's subtle erosion.
It really is. And the source material brings up Marcus Aurelius here, which is fascinating. We're talking about the Emperor of Rome.
The most powerful man in the world at the time.
You'd think he'd just spring out of bed, right? But no, even he had to strategize against the urge to stay under the covers. He wrote about it.
That makes it feel much more human, achievable maybe.
Yeah.
What did he tell himself? What was his strategy?
He literally wrote this in his private journal, his meditations. He said, "At dawn, when you are unwilling to rise, have this thought ready. I am rising to the work of a human being."
Wow. Not, I feel like it, but this is my duty.
Exactly. He wasn't waiting for good feelings. He was declaring war on that voice of comfort and mediocrity using rational duty. It's a cognitive override, purpose over preference.
And it's crucial, like you hinted, that Stoicism sees laziness as more than just, wanting to nap. The sources talk about modern types too.
Oh, absolutely. Mental laziness is a huge one today. Confusing endless planning or thinking about a problem with actually taking steps to solve it.
Right, the planning fallacy.
Yeah.
Perfect plan, zero execution.
Precisely. Or emotional laziness, avoiding those tough conversations because they feel uncomfortable, even though they're necessary for growth or relationship health.
Or even like spiritual laziness. That sounds heavy.
Yeah, maybe existential laziness is another way to put it. Failing to really check in and ask, are my daily actions actually aligned with the values I say I hold dear, or am I just drifting there too?
Okay. So facing all these types of laziness,
Yeah.
what's the Stoic countermove? You mentioned something called voluntary discomfort.
Yes. Voluntary discomfort.
Now, hang on. That sounds a bit like self-flagellation or just burning yourself out for no reason. How is that helpful?
That's a really important clarification. It's not about pointless hardship. The difference is strategy.
Strategy. Okay.
You're not just suffering for suffering's sake. You strategically choose small, challenging actions. Getting up early when you don't want to. Doing that workout when you're sore. Tackling the focused work before the easy distraction. Why?
To build muscle.
Exactly. Mental muscle. character muscle. By regularly pushing through these small bits of resistance, you train your mind, your willpower, to handle the big resistance life inevitably throws your way. It's like strength training for your character, not a punishment.
Got it. So it's preventative medicine for weakness, almost.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. So if step one is stop negotiating and the internal debate, what about when the initial motivation fades? Because it always does, right?
Always.
That brings us to the idea of stopping the wait for motivation and instead creating momentum yourself.
Yes. Our modern world is completely obsessed with the feeling of motivation. We think we need inspiration before we can act.
We wait for the muse.
We wait for the muse.
Yeah.
But the Stoics knew and lived the reverse. Action drives feeling. You don't wait to feel brave to do something scary. You act bravely, perhaps awkwardly at first.
Fake it till you make it.
Kind of, but deeper. You act with courage until courage becomes, just part of who you are, your default.
There's that great metaphor from Cleanthes, right?
Yeah.
The philosopher who is also a manual laborer.
Yes. Lifting the heavy stone. If it's too heavy in one go, you don't just give up. You wedge a smaller stone underneath. You gain leverage.
Right.
So when your internal motivation, your feeling, fails you, which it will, you don't stop. You find leverage. You build systems. You use external structure to create momentum, not just internal feeling.
Which is where this idea of daily minimums comes in.
Exactly. It's such a powerful, practical tool. The absolute smallest version of an important task you can commit to doing every single day, no matter what, even on your worst day.
Like 5 minutes of meditation or writing just 50 words, 10 push-ups. It sounds almost too small. Does it really make a difference?
It makes a huge difference because it kills the all-or-nothing thinking that derails so many people. You aim for an hour workout, you miss it, your brain says, see, failed again, might as well quit. But if your minimum is 10 push-ups, you can almost always do that. You maintain the chain of consistency.
You keep the engine idling, at least.
Precisely. These tiny, consistent actions build compound interest over time, yes. But maybe more importantly, they generate psychological momentum. They prove to yourself that your commitment is real, deeper than just fleeting inspiration or comfort. They anchor you.
So it shifts from heroic bursts to just relentless consistency. I like that. Okay, let's pivot slightly. We've talked about how to start and keep going. What about where we're aiming and who's around us?
Yep.
This brings us to principle 2. Build ruthless clarity.
Yes, Seneca again. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable.
Meaning, action without a clear goal is just wasted energy?
Pretty much. It's just activity, not progress. Motion without meaning. You can be incredibly busy, run yourself ragged, but end up exactly where you started, or worse.
In there.
We all have. Clarity, real clarity, isn't just about having fuzzy dreams. It's about defining those dreams, sure, but also defining the sacrifices and trade-offs you are genuinely willing to make. Vagueness is the enemy here, total enemy of achievement.
And finding that clarity can be tough. Marcus Aurelius had a technique for this, didn't he? Something about mortality.
Yeah, the ultimate focusing tool. He basically told himself constantly, you could leave life right now.
Intense.
It is intense, but powerful. Let that determine what you do and say and think. When you really internalize that your time is finite, profoundly finite.
Wasting it on confusion or stuff that doesn't matter feels almost offensive.
Exactly. It feels like a dishonor to the gift of being alive. Real clarity simplifies everything. It gives you a filter for decisions. Does this opportunity, this task, this relationship move me closer to my defined port, or does it pull me further away? Simple, but not easy.
No, definitely not easy. So once you have that clarity, or you're working towards it, you need to protect it. Which leads straight into principle 4. Surround yourself with builders, not just dreamers.
Your social environment, it's not passive background noise. It actively shapes you. It sets your norms, your standards.
So the old saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, there's truth to that.
Absolutely. The source material urges you, the listener, to actually do that exercise. Think about those 5 people. Are they actively building things, careers, skills, positive relationships, projects, or are they mostly talking, complaining, dreaming without doing?
Ouch. That could be an uncomfortable audit for some of us.
It often is. Epictetus warned his students about negative people. He said avoiding them wasn't being rude, it was essential self-preservation.
Why? What's the danger?
They normalize mediocrity. They normalize excuse-making. They celebrate quitting sometimes. If you hang around that energy constantly, even if you resist at first, your own standards start to drift downwards. It's like psychological gravity.
But what if you look around and you don't see many builders? What then?
That's where solitude comes in, and this is often missed. Temporary solitude is infinitely preferable to permanent mediocrity surrounded by negativity.
So, better to be alone than in bad company.
For a time, yes. Solitude gives you space to strengthen your own values, your own resolve. But the ultimate goal isn't just to find better people. It's to become the kind of focused, disciplined, building person that other builders are naturally drawn to. You raise your own level first.
Shifting the focus back to yourself. Control what you can control. That feels very Stoic.
Exactly.
Which connects really well to Principle 5, and this one feels incredibly relevant today. Stop consuming to escape. Start learning to evolve.
Oh, it's tailor-made for the digital age, isn't it? We're drowning in potential distractions. Mindless consumption, endless scrolling, binge-watching, game playing.
The doom scroll.
Right. We use it as an escape hatch, an emotional anesthetic to avoid the discomfort of focused work, or maybe just the discomfort of boredom or difficult feelings.
And the numbers are just staggering when you actually look at them. Like the example given, 2 hours a day of just mindless stuff. That adds up.
It adds up massively. Over 700 hours a year, gone. Now imagine redirecting even half of that, just 350 hours, into deliberate learning, skill-building, focused creation.
That's like 9 extra work weeks invested in yourself each year.
Exactly. That gap between passive consumption and active creation compounded over 5 or 10 years, it creates vastly different life trajectories.
Seneca said something about imagination and suffering. How does that fit?
He said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Mindless consumption often fuels that imaginary suffering, comparison, anxiety, manufactured outrage.
It feeds the negativity loop.
It absolutely can. And Marcus Aurelius gave us the direct link. You become what you give your attention to. So the shift is conscious. Make consumption strategic. Learn with purpose. Apply the knowledge. Don't just consume to fill time or numb out. The real transformation happens when your brain starts wanting growth more than the cheap dopamine hit of distraction.
Okay, that's a huge shift in perspective. Let's talk about the long haul. The final 2 principles seem to deal with sustaining this over time. Principle 6, master boredom. That's where greatness is built.
This one is so countercultural right now. We crave constant stimulation, novelty, excitement.
Yeah, we think mastery looks like a Hollywood montage. All excitement.
Right. But the reality of excellence in almost any field involves long stretches of, well, seemingly boring work, repetitive work, unglamorous work.
Writing the 500th page, doing the 1,000th practice drill, checking the details on the report again.
Exactly that. That's where the deep skill gets built. That's the work of mastery.
So boredom isn't the enemy. It's more like a gateway or a test.
It's absolutely a test. It tests whether your commitment to the goal is deeper than your need for constant entertainment. We live in an age of what some call continuous partial attention, flitting from thing to thing, never fully focusing.
Because true focus can feel boring compared to the next notification.
Precisely. The Stoic counter is this concept of preferred indifference. You learn to value activities not based on how entertaining they feel in the moment, but on whether they contribute to your long-term goals, your character, your purpose.
So you find satisfaction in the process itself, even the repetitive parts.
Yes. Finding that quiet satisfaction in consistent, focused improvement, even when it's not exciting, that makes you psychologically formidable. Unstoppable, really.
Okay, mastering boredom. Powerful. And the final piece, Principle 7. Act as if failure isn't an option, because regret is worse.
This is about the level of commitment. We need to differentiate between casual commitment, I'll give it a try, and total commitment.
Like the idea of burning the ships. No retreat possible.
Exactly that psychological framing. When you remove the option of easy retreat, it forces resourcefulness.
Right.
It forces creativity when you hit obstacles because going back isn't on the table.
Acting like failure isn't an option. Doesn't that create immense pressure? Fear of failure is huge for people.
It does create pressure, but here's the crucial reframe the Stoics offer. You have to compare the pains. You will experience pain either way. Life guarantees that.
Okay.
So which pain do you choose? The pain of discipline, effort, maybe temporary setbacks, maybe even spectacular failure, which is ultimately educational, or the pain of regret, the pain of looking back years later at untapped potential, at the things you didn't even try.
Failure is temporary, regret feels permanent.
Regret is permanent and it's corrosive. It teaches you nothing except the bitter taste of avoidance. A Stoic doesn't fear failure in the same way. Obstacles aren't reasons to quit, they are part of the path.
Marcus Aurelius again. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
That's the mindset. Obstacles are fuel, setbacks are data. This total commitment ensures you persist through the difficulties that stop most people who are only casually trying. From this view, the only true failure is giving up on your mission entirely, quitting the journey.
Wow. Okay, so pulling all this together, what's the core message distilled from these principles?
I think it boils down to this. You are not meant to live casually. You need to wake up to the reality, the brutal truth that time is ticking. It's moving forward, whether you are actively building the life you want or just passively existing. The choice is always yours, but the clock doesn't stop.
Which makes that question from Epictetus even more pointed. He asks you, the listener, directly. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself?
It's a call to action, isn't it? Stop playing the victim of your circumstances, of your feelings, of your perceived limitations. Start acting like the architect of your own life. The Stoics didn't pray for easy lives. They demanded strength from themselves. Demand it from yourself.
So take this knowledge, internalize that demand. Look your life, your time, square in the eyes and declare your intention. Make the commitment. I am here to build, not to waste.